I'm Matt Montana, you're watching Mont TV movie reviews, and today I finally get to see my most favourite movie on the big screen for the very first time. About 10 years ago, I was having a little movie chat with a good friend of mine when he suddenly asked me, what's your favourite movie of all time? Not what I think is the best movie of all time. Now that's very different, but my favourite movie of all time. Now I think our most favourite movies are the ones we've grown up with from our youth. The ones we've watched multiple times. The ones we've grown to truly love. Now after careful consideration, there's the Indiana Jones movies, the Back to the Future movies, the Goonies, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Goodfellas, Scarface, Pulp Fiction, The Breakfast Club, Star Wars, To Sir With Love, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, Groundhog Day, Airplane, Ghostbusters, National Lampoon's Vacation. So I decided on not one, but an anthology of films. Yes, I told my mate, and this remains true to this very day, that my favourite films are the Rocky movies. And today, for the very first time, I get to see the original theatrical release of the 1976 Rocky. Now we should all by now know the story of how Rocky came to fruition. In 1975, Sylvester Stallone was a down on his luck, broke, struggling actor. And after witnessing the fight between Muhammad Ali and Chuck Wepner, he was inspired to write the script for a down on his luck boxer called Rocky Balboa. He wrote it in just 3 days, took it to the movie studios and received an immediate positive response from the big bosses. They offered him $100,000 for the script and were ready and prepared to offer the lead role to either James Caan or Burt Reynolds. But Stallone, who only had $11 to his name, stuck to his guns and insisted he would only sell the script if he alone played the role of Rocky Balboa. Stallone got his own way, thank God. The movie was made for just over $1 million and went on to be nominated for 9 Academy Awards, winning 3 for Best Director, Best Editing, and Stallone for Best Original Screenplay. Wow, what an absolute triumph. The whole Rocky franchise, including the 2 spin-off Creed movies, has now taken at the box office a total of over $1.7 billion. I honestly can't tell you how many times I've seen Rocky, but never on the big screen. So I'm going to see it now, and then afterwards I'll give you my instant response movie review, my opinions, my thoughts, my feelings, and general chat about this phenomenal film. Let's go. Okay guys, so I've just come out of screen number 6 watching the original 1976 Rocky. It's just a masterpiece. It is my favourite film. The anthology, that series of my favourite films. You can see what it does to me. I've actually sat there in a cinema by myself for the last 110, 120 minutes and basically I just cry. I don't mind admitting it. I find the whole movie so moving, and obviously because it means so much to me, I've seen it so many times and seen it on the big screen for the first time. Honestly, it was perfection. It really is. We're going to get to my car, do some drive time and discuss Rocky in great depth. There will be spoilers to let you know, so if you haven't by any chance caught this movie yet, go and check it out and then come back and check this review. See you in a minute. Okay guys, welcome to Drive Time, a segment of Mont TV movie reviews that I used to use to basically talk a little bit further and give an immediate response whilst driving home from the cinema. But since the release of the world's worst ever sequel, aka COVID-19, you like that? Nice little coronavirus gag there, if you can have one. I've decided to use it as my immediate reaction because you have to get out of the cinema. And rightly so. So we'll come to the car where I can take my mask off and talk safe about my films. So I'm talking about my favourite films of all time, the Rocky anthology. And I went and saw the first one, the 1976 release, Rocky. Now, I actually haven't seen the original Rocky properly from start to finish for, say, about 5 or 6 years. And every time I do return to it, as you get older, and obviously it came out in 1976, I was born in 1975, the movie has always been there in my life. As I get older, I find myself getting something else from it. And my first initial reaction to watching the original Rocky today was actually how gritty it was, how serious it was, how dark it was. It really was off its time, that 70s, mid-70s feel of like Mean Streets or Taxi Driver. I mean, it's a serious movie. It actually has a direct reference to Taxi Driver, which I'd never noticed before. At the end, in the ring, when Apollo enters the ring and he's going, "I want you, I want you," and he's pointing at Rocky. Rocky turns to Mickey and goes, "Is he talking to me? He's talking to you. Is he talking to me? He's talking to you." It's a brilliant, lovely reference, and it's got to be a deliberate thing. I never knew that before. The movie is actually a very slow burner. For people who have seen later Rockies, and they obviously, I think they're all delightful, to be perfectly honest, but they definitely change with the times. And certainly in the 80s with your Rocky 3s and your Rocky 4, you see a more entertaining approach, dare I say, a more showbiz approach. And this original Rocky is a slow burner, dare I say, a character study. And it is a story, I'll tell you what it is, I'll tell you what Rocky is. It's a story about loneliness. It is also the greatest love story, or one of the greatest love stories put to film. The relationship between Rocky and Adrian is an absolute delight, and that is actually what makes me so emotional. When I say it's a story about loneliness, it really is. Rocky Balboa is a lonely character. Adrian is extremely lonely, extremely shy, painfully shy. And Paulie, Adrian's brother, Rocky's mate, is even probably a lower ebb. It's actually quite interesting to see that Paulie, throughout the movie, is always saying to Rocky, hey Rock, you've spoken to Garzo, the loan shark that Rocky works for. Like, that's a step up. We feel for Rocky in his position, you know, like a washed up boxer with no one in his sort of life of any real value. And then you look at Paulie and the way he looks up to Rocky. Like, Paulie wants to be Rocky, and Paulie, you forget how much of an arsehole he is. It's some of the hardest hitting scenes, and they are hard hitting. When Paulie smashes up the apartment at Christmas, when he throws the turkey out the window at Thanksgiving that Adrian, his sister, has cooked, and her reaction, "You want the bird? Go in the alley and eat the bird." Oh, Paulie is so moving. He's such an arsehole as well. Paulie and Rocky's relationship is quite something, because especially in the first one, they're fighting. They never actually come to blows, but believe me, there's some tough rows. Basically because Paulie is an arsehole. He's a drunk. He's drinking whiskey straight from the bottle. He's a drunk, and the fact that Rocky actually sort of like allows him back into his his life, and their relationship continues, and it's like throughout the whole series of Rocky films, Paulie is a bit of a jerk, well, complete jerk, and Rocky sort of forgives him. The stuff that Paulie does in latest ones, I mean, it's his mistake why they lose all their money in Rocky 5, you know? He's done so much to for Rocky to be angry at him about through the years, but he does actually stick by him. And I think there's a reason why, and it's explained in the first one, going back on it. Rocky is lonely, Adrian is lonely, and Rocky goes, he says, hey, I go every morning, I pass every morning, I'd say a joke. You know, I try to say good morning. I go home, I say good night, I say a joke. You know, she don't give me any of the time of day, Paulie, you know. He's all right. And it's Paulie's encouragement and organisation. He invites him over to Thanksgiving for Thanksgiving to spend time with Adrian. Adrian hasn't been told this, and obviously it's rather embarrassing because a sort of argument between Paulie and Adrian ensues, and it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to watch. She's painfully shy, and he's an arsehole, but actually, in a weird way, he is a caring big brother who's at his wit's end because he wants Adrian to get out. She's 30 years old, to get out and you know, not waste her life to find somebody, because he says she's going to end up dying alone. Hey, you know, I'm 30 as well. We are going to die alone. So there's a big essence of dying alone in this, Jesus. So the reason why Balboa actually puts up with Paulie and actually accepts him back in and owes a debt to him in some way is because he introduced him and allowed him to go out with his sister and introduce him to the love of his life. And to see Adrian's confidence grow is really quite something. Again, there's uncomfortable. Their first date's really uncomfortable, but also very nice as well. And for people who really expect this movie to be all about the boxing and all about the action, you're surely mistaken. You really are. It's a slow burning love story. Another relationship which is very important in the Rocky saga is his relationship with Mickey, with his trainer, Mickey Goldmill, played wonderfully by Burgess Meredith. Now, I never knew this, but his first line, Mickey's first line in the whole saga, in the first movie, he goes up to him, Rocky, and goes, hey Mick, you shut up! His first line is shut up! I love it. He also is an actual arsehole to Rocky. Rocky is so alone, and it's not until he gets given this opportunity of a lifetime, you know, this chance, this one shot, you know, at the world title from Apollo Creed, due to unforeseen circumstances, due to luck. You see everyone around Rocky change a little. They all suddenly want a piece of him. No one was interested in him before when he was a nobody, and now he's sort of a somebody. People are around him, and it's funny, it's an interesting sort of comment on how celebrity and recognition suddenly gains you more friends, or are they friends? But once he's got that title shot and Mickey turns up at Rocky's apartment and basically says, you need a manager, he wants to be his manager, then that is one of the great scenes. It's such a great scene. Rocky Marciano, you know, you remind me of The Rock. You move like him. You got heart like him. Yeah, I got heart, I got no luck at that, do I, Mick? That scene is just, it's perfection. It's two men who actually need each other, and they know they've made some mistakes, and Rocky has to get that stuff off his chest. It stinks! The whole place stinks! Talia Shire as Adrian it's the most beautiful performance. You really believe the shyness, the sort of like I say, he almost says like it's a disease, it's an illness. It's referenced like that in the movie, and you really see that painful shyness that she has, and to see her come out of her cage, actually that's a bit, when she's in the pet shop, that's what the pet shop's about, isn't it? She's almost like a caged animal, and she's slowly left to sort of like a butterfly, because she changes her clothes later, doesn't she? She gains more confidence and starts falling in love with Rocky. She becomes like a butterfly or like a peacock with her plumage. Yeah, that's what it is. There's that scene when she's feeding the budgerigars or the canaries, and Rocky comes in. He goes, "Hey canary, hey Mr. Budgie, what's this? There's a giant worm." That scene, it's shot, and every time you see Adrian, she's shot through the cage. So she's actually in the cage, referencing her shyness and her inward doubt. Without Talia Shire's performance so perfect as Adrian throughout the whole saga of Rocky, the films would not work as well, honestly, because their relationship together is absolute perfection. And so let's bring it to Sylvester Stallone, who obviously wrote the script, and this is why it also works, why all the Rockies work so well, is because there is a direct parallel between Sylvester Stallone's life and the life of Rocky Balboa. Sylvester Stallone wrote this script himself because he wanted to be an actor. He'd already been in a few bit parts before Rocky, but at 30 years of age, he wrote his own script and basically insisted on playing this role. And the parallels to his real life and Rocky Balboa are so similar. Time isn't on their side, they have no money, they have nothing big around them, and they're looking for that one shot to really prove that, as Rocky puts it, "I'm not another bum from the neighborhood." And boy does Rocky prove it, and boy has Sly Stallone proved it through the years. I know he gets a strange raw deal, Stallone, but when you actually look at his body of work and how meticulous he is, there's no actor quite like him. Genuinely, he could be my favourite actor. If I just go with my favourite scenario like I am today, my favourite things, not the best, but my favourites, I think Stallone's my favourite actor, dare I say. Watching the original Rocky, having watched a lot of Rocky Balboa, the 2006 release, when Rocky comes back into the ring after 30 years, which I think is actually a wonderful, wonderful piece of film. Stallone's actually famously said that his two favourite Rockies are the original and the sixth piece, Rocky Balboa. In the sixth one, Adrian is dead. Adrian has died, and died from cancer, and Rocky misses her, obviously misses her. So to suddenly go back to the first one and see how they met and how they fell in love and how their relationship built and how they needed each other. When Paulie asked Rocky, "Well, why did you see my sister?" "I don't know, we fill gaps." Guess what gaps? You know, she's got gaps, I got gaps. Together we fill gaps. You can actually see what it means. They come together like that. Oops, I'm driving. Shit. Now, are we going to talk about the music? Bill Conti. Wow. It's my favourite music too. I mean, dare I say, it's the greatest film music ever. What a film score. It's so emotive. Oh, it basically makes me cry. Like I said, I sat in that cinema and I'm crying. And it's when the music kicks in. That's what hits more than anything. In any scene of raw emotion, once Conti's score kicks in, whether it's Alone in the Ring, whether it's Going the Distance, whether it's Gonna Fly Now, the main Rocky theme, when it's any piece of music and it comes in, it actually is spine tingling and genuinely brings tears to my eyes. It's just fantastic. Now the director, John D. Avildsen, who won Best Director for his direction at the 77 Oscars, worked with Conti on The Karate Kid. You know, great movies like Harold and Maude and The Karate Kid. Just a quick detour here, a quick tangent line. I have got obsessed with Cobra Kai. are unbelievable. Check out Cobra Kai on Netflix. I'm also going to be doing a review on those seasons, as season 3 is coming next year. Cobra Kai is basically a spawn from the Karate Kid, the original 1984 Karate Kid, which Avildsen directed, and who did the music? Bill Conti, which I never knew until I watched it the other day because of my inspiration from Cobra Kai. The things you learn. Also, another quick detour into my film history. Another favourite film of mine is Stir Crazy. Do you remember that with Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder? A wonderful, wonderful movie. Do you know who directed that? It was on the other day on Film 4. I think, oh, well, great, I'll put this on for a little bit, see what's going on. It was at the beginning. Who directs that? Sidney Poitier. Who'd have thought it? Avildsen's direction is absolutely phenomenal. It makes the movie really gritty, like I've said. It really does take you back to that gritty 70s time. Films I've already mentioned, even like Chinatown, that kind of stuff. It basically comes down to everything coming together, driven by the force that is Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa. Everything comes together to create this wonderful masterpiece. And then we come to the fight scene. It builds up, gains momentum throughout the movie to the epic fight scene at the end. Seeing it on the big screen is actually amazing. It really is. And I don't know why, but these fight scenes when I was younger, I used to get a bit of a raw deal. People go, oh, because they're all cut up, oh, that'd never happen. But they actually say, God, this is a war. The commentators are acknowledging that this is unusual. When Rocky knocks down Apollo Creed, played brilliantly and perfect by Carl Weathers, in the first round with his first punch, and it goes back to the bar in Philadelphia, his local bar, and they go, yes, yes! It's just this little bits like that which purely make this movie such a wonderful delight. Apollo's had 45 wins, he's never been stopped, he's never been down on the floor before, and Rocky knocks him down in the first. It's unbelievable. And it actually is a genuinely good fight. It's not cheesy. I know people always talk about Raging Bull as the greatest boxing movie, and I think it actually was voted the greatest boxing movie with Rocky in number 2, because there's no other boxing movies, basically. Now there is The Champ and Grudge Match, to name but a few. But I'm going to sanction Rocky as better fight scenes over Raging Bull. Just put comments, get in contact, let me know what you think. It's all about opinions, and I want to hear yours. And a lovely little touch is when, I think it's the second round, and Rocky starts going to the body of Apollo, and everyone, you start realising, hang about, and it cuts just for a second to the promoter who's puffing on his cigar, and the look that he gives you is thinking, hang about, this might not go to plan. This could be a bit of a fight, you know. It's a delight. It really gives me a buzz every time I see that particular section. The training sequences are, they're now stuff of folklore, but no one really did them before the Rocky movies, before Rocky 1. When Gonna Fly Now kicks in, you know, dun 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 dun, that one. When that kicks in and you see the training montage and you see that he's got fitter, and you actually start believing, and he's got better, and he might just have a chance of whipping Creed, then it's just so delightful, and it's goosebump stuff. It's goosebump stuff. Right, so there you go. For those of you who haven't seen Rocky from 1976, it's actually running in the cinema at the moment, in various cinemas, so please go and see it, check it out. You won't be disappointed. It's an absolute delight, and you know, it's the start of my favourite films. My favourite Rocky film is actually Rocky 2. Does that mean, if the Rocky films are my favourite films and Rocky 2 is my favourite Rocky film, does that mean that Rocky 2 is my favourite ever film? I suppose in essence it does. Well, in that case, please follow the next review, because tomorrow night at the cinema, I'm going to go and see Rocky Bloody 2. Yes! Yeah, so guys, that's my thoughts, opinions, and immediate response to watching Rocky on the big screen. Please let me know what you think by commenting. Please spread the good word, the gospel according to Mont TV movie reviews. Subscribe, let me know, and keep following the Rocky reviews that are going to be coming up. Rocky 2 tomorrow. I'm going to try and get to see Rocky 3 and so on and so forth.